Namaste, Jai Shivai. A lot of people wants to know the difference between love with attachments, love without attachments, or you can say love with attachments. In Hindi we translate it as moh, and love without attachments, that we translate to as prem. These are the rough approximate kind of translations that I am giving you. So they want to know what's the difference. In English it's very easy to say one is with the attachment, one is without the attachment. But if we need to look into the deeper aspect of it, and the spiritual aspect of it, if you need to understand it technically, then one thing that we need to understand is that normally when you feel a lot of attraction towards somebody and you say you fell in love, then initially you may feel like attaching yourself to the other person or attaching the other person to you like a glue. And you may feel like, when the love has been expressed from both sides, then the end result of that love is a relationship. So you will try to get into a relationship with that person, and you would like to put a boundary around the other person, and you yourself want to be in that foundation, in that limitation of the relationship, right? So you will try to, create all sorts of boundaries. Let's marry, let's live together, let's stay together, let's this, let's that. And because you are mine, you're not allowed to see other person. That comes with it. And because I am yours, then I'm also not allowed to see or look at other people. And all kinds of foundation you will create. And that's what we call as moh, creating a boundary. Or if you cannot marry that person, due to some reason, you are not able to marry or create a relationship because that other person doesn't want to do all that, then you may end up creating a strict line saying, okay, I am not calling you, I am not loving you anymore. I'll try to fall out of love now. Just like you tried, you just accidentally or intentionally or whatever, you just fell in love. Now you will try to fall out of love because the other person or the situation or the circumstances are not allowing you to get into a relationship of some kind, whatever kind of relationship that is. Okay, so you'll try to fall out of it. You will try to end the connection with that person. This is all called as moha. This is all moha. We don't call that love at all. This is not love. Love actually, or the love without attachment, or let's call that prem. Prem with someone is about breaking your ego on everyday basis, moment by moment, and keeping your anahata open for that person, no matter what. No matter what. Never feeling bad that the other person wants to be free, not creating grudges within you that other person doesn't want to belong to you, in one way or the other through this relationship or that, allowing that person to choose and live the life that they want to, that they have chosen, allowing them to live that way. Yet thinking about the actual benefit of that life of that person from the heart, and keeping the heart always open, not worrying about them excessively, thinking that just because they are not with you, they may go through some kind of harm, or they may go through some sort of a bad patch in life, and they may get into some accidentally they may get into some kind of a wrong marriage or wrong relationship with the wrong person or whatever. Not worrying at all, not worried at all. How many other people they sleep with, how many other people that they go out with, or that they love you or not. That's what love without attachments is. That's what prem is. That's what true love is. True love or prem is a practice of keeping your anahata open. And while the love with attachments may still be an affair or a story of, say, few years, few months, few moments, prem is a never-ending story. Prem, for if you really want the benefit of that Atma, that self, that other person, you have to keep your anahata open. No matter what choice they make in their life, you still keep loving them. You still keep looking for the benefits of whatever that Atma wants, giving them complete freedom. That's what true love is. Prem is. Love without attachment is. It's a practice of keeping your anahata chakra open at all times. Not closing it because the other person said they don't love you. So it could be a one-sided affair, love. Not suffering that love at all. Instead, that state of love brings you to such a nice divine state where you neither create emotional suffering for yourself nor you create any kind of suffering for the other person. Instead, look out for the best. If required, not trying to, forcefully poke the nose in the other person's life. If they choose to create a relationship with you, fine. If not, that is also fine. Only through a life lived, you can say, okay, I was truly having a love without attachment. Or you can say that I had a true love. Or you can say that, I had prem with someone or with somebody. Prem is not something that can be caged into a boundary of relationships. Prem is not something that requires approval of the society, approval of the world, approval of the family, and an approval by saying, okay, now you are in so and so relationship. Just because you are life partners, husband and wife, this and that. So now your love is justified. So it's not looking for any kind of social or moral justification. True love, prem, is not dependent on all these things. While love with attachment looks for approval from the society, looks for a boundary, tries to create a boundary, and wants to have a social or moral sort of a justification, saying, okay, if it is this kind of a relationship, it's valid. If it is the XY kind of relationship, it's not valid. If this in that country and culture, this is valid and that is valid, and looks for, okay, if this is the age difference, then it's not valid. If it is different country, different religion, then it's not valid. All those factors that are related to your physical body does not matter. It includes age, it includes gender, it includes country, culture, society, language, everything. Prem or love without attachment, true love, knows no boundaries at all. No boundaries at all. We call it realizing the Atmahit of the other person, benefit of the self, the real self of the other person. That's what prem is. It cannot be caged. How many of you had love marriages, right? And how much love is there after the marriage? Doesn't love ends? Doesn't love just flies out of the window? Once you marry, once you create a boundary of any kind, once you make it transactional, in other words, it just leaves. So at one point of time you fell in love, you got married to that person, and now you fall out of love. How quickly that happens these days. So love, true love or prem, has nothing to do with creating relationships, has nothing to do with trying to bind the other person to yourself and be bound by them, or to, have some sort of a social approval or a stamp of marriage, or a stamp of approval in terms of gender or class or religion or culture or age. True love or prem is a lifelong affair. And because it is a practice of opening anahata, keeping the anahata chakra open, it's a very painful practice. Every now and then you will feel like, let me just forget about this person. How about I just forget it? But no. If it is true love, you cannot forget. No time distance, no distance of birth or lifetimes can ever dissolve that kind of a love. Nothing can vanish. Nothing can evaporate or impact such a bond, such a connection between two people. And whatever bodies they are in, physical bodies, consciousness has got no gender. So it's not about gender identification either. There's no body identification. It could be different two people belonging to talking and speaking completely two different languages, and they fell in love. True love. A lot of people love, and their love is true, and I have met so many people like that, where they have kept their anahata open no matter what. They didn't fall in love and then fell out of love. That did not happen. And no relationship was ever required by them. Such people, those who have opened their anahata through the prem or true love or through love without attachment, are truly very, very, very close to the divine, the creator. They harbor no grudges with him. No grudges against the other person. For their choices, for their own circumstances and choices, and it doesn't feel like any kind of rejection or acceptance. They're not playing those psychological games that happen. There's no ego involved in that. In true love. It's another way of dissolving your ego, your ahankara. It's another way of dissolving your identities, where you do not matter, you do not exist. Exactly in the same way, your lover does not exist. What exists is just the love. The seer and the seen does not exist. Just the seeing is happening. Do not know between whom. Because those two people, their identities just melt, dissolve. It's a very beautiful way. It is said that until you have known the true love, your anahata is not open and spiritually not going anywhere. It may take you multiple lifetimes. Why? The journey of anahata, the lesson of anahata is the most difficult one out of all your chakras. Most difficult one is anahata chakra, to cross anahata chakra and be in Vishuddhi. It's the most difficult one. And it takes lifetime for people to cross that chakra. Why? The moment anybody says, I don't love you, or I love you, but I do not want to be with you, or that I love you, but I don't see myself marrying you. Oh, you're egoist. Broken. Real bad. You harbor grudges against them. It's so easy not to love any other person just because one love failed. Once you have faced the misery, you realize nothing is there and you suddenly become dispassionate. You suddenly become vairagi just because your love failed. Let me try myself on the divinity side, right? Not trying to be human first, not embodying your humanity first and trying to be divine. Trying to bring down divinity in your existence. And I have seen a lot of husband-wife as well. Those who have true love with each other. True, they are truly in love with each other. They do not attach themselves in a very really sick way. They give freedom and they live free in every possible way. In every way that you can think of. It's a beautiful relationship. That is when divinity happens to you because your anahata is open. Those people, those who fell in love, marry or create a relationship or try to create a relationship and then fell out of love, well, that was moha, attachment. And they harbor a lot of grudges against those people. Those who either rejected you or you couldn't marry them for this reason or that reason. Due to the family reasons, cultural reasons, age gap reasons, gender reason, this reason, that reason, whatever. So you harbor grudges against them. That is not love. That is all attachment. And if an attachment is happening, attachment is or moha is the blockage of root chakra, Mooladhara chakra. So imagine moha or that kind of love is arising from the blockage as a blockage to your root chakra. While the prem is arising from the anahata chakra. That is one technical or you can say existential difference between two different kinds of love. Love with attachment, love without attachment or true love. Moha and prema. That's the difference. One is the blockage and another one is an opening. If you practice more and more moha, you will create anger for yourself, anger for the other, and in long term you will create a very long suffering for yourself and suffering for the other person as well. Because it's coming from the foundation of blockage. While prem will not do any such thing. It won't create suffering in you. it is not going to be a suffering for the other person either. It doesn't matter whether you ever see them or not. It doesn't matter whether you ever meet them or talk to them that frequently or not. It does not matter in prema, in true love, whether you ever marry them or not. Does not matter. There's no boundary. If you get to spend time, fine. If you don't, that is also fine. If you get to talk, that's okay. If you don't, that's fine. There's no involvement of ego in it. So it's a practice. True love or prema or love without attachment is a practice of opening anahata and keeping it open. Breaking your ego. Dissolving your identities. And those who can keep it open for a sufficient time, when they themselves are sure that now nothing can push them into the boundaries, they can leave this person, not just from the body, from the distance on this earth, they can leave this whole body and this existence for them. They are ready to die for them. When that kind of a surrender happens, it brings you closer to samadhi. It brings you closer to you opening your own third eye. It brings you closer to divinity. It helps you progress on your spiritual journey. It helps you attain enlightenment. Moha does exactly opposite of that. Moha makes you become much more animalistic and have much more cardinal desires, or you can call them physical attachment, physical things in you. Moha can make you sick, physically sick actually. It may fail your kidneys. It may, cause you, give you a diabetes. Moha does. And it could be the moha or the attachment with your son, your daughter, your parents, anybody in this lifetime. It can give you physical psychosomatic diseases as well as the physical diseases. Prem, love without attachment or true love, does exactly opposite of that. It makes you healthy. So think about it, whether you are in moha or you are in prem. Whatever, if you are going to have moha or you are going to drown yourself into attachments, be careful, be conscious. Don't go that route. Sooner or later, it will create suffering. Lot of suffering for you and for the other person as well. Namaste. Jai Shivaya.